dude, I'm telling you, I think they can make a run, bro. I'm like,
The
first,
Guardians?
dude, yeah, they're fucking
They
solid,
can run at what? Wait, where are they running
bro.
to?
They're like,
Where are they running? Tell
bro,
me.
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
McKenzie is
home to
no
go out of
slouch,
turf.
dude. He is
Listen, I'm
just
not
Oh,
torching
denying
the
this.
so
Sox.
one
Yo,
pitcher,
Wolfie,
one pitcher.
Wolfie, I don't
Yeah.
listen.
He's
We
got
all had
six
the same
Ks,
reaction when he said that they would win the division. When he said
bro.
they would win the division, we all had the same reaction.
Yeah, okay,
Okay,
yeah, and I'm
this is
reacting.
this
So
is his.
yes,
All right, he's got 51 pitches through
51.
innings with 6 Ks right now. McKenzie's legit. Dude, I'm telling you, last time he played the White Sox, that's why I was telling you I should have played that bet because the last time
This
he
is
played the
Chris.
White
He's like,
Sox,
Mackenzie is
he,
I'm gonna throw him over my back and they're gonna go into the
bro,
Welcome to the Built Different podcast. Let's get it. Welcome, everybody, to the Built Different podcast. As you guys can see, we have a new family member. We're going to get to that in a second. This is episode 7. So that means we have come on your guys' screens 7 times. Pause. I didn't mean to say it like that. But here we are, episode 7. So I'm your host, Thomas Saxby. I'm here with my co-host, Wolfie. Not so white Chris, and give a warm welcome, DeVante. Tell us who you are, man.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. I'm DeVante, owner of Ayambre, New York City taxi driver. If you need anything, put something in a special link, can work something out, might be able to pick you up. But I'm here. I'm a fan, longtime friend of Thomas, and just trying to see where we could take this to new levels.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And it's definitely a pleasure to have you, man. You know, me and DeVante, we go way back. We went to college together. We suffered on our college baseball team together. We grew together. It was good times. So Wolfie, why don't you open us up with your opening take, man? What's up?
Yo, boys, great to be back. Episode 7. I can't believe we're already here for episode 7. We're gonna come in hot. We're gonna come in and talk about the oldest players in baseball right now. And I'm just not going to break down all of them. I'm going to break the ones that are going off. We got Pujols at the age of 42, about to break the 700 home run record. We got a guy like Verlander out there that's pitching like Cy Young caliber. And not only that, we have a guy at Adam Wainwright that's also about to lead his team to a division win with, oh, by the way, another guy that's just about to turn 40, Yadier Molina. Chris, you broke it down last week, battery mates.
he
Dude, these
looked
guys are
bad. He
like
looked
pushing
bad
like
against the
4
Padres
decades
last night.
old, and they're still
Just saying, he
playing
looked
like top guys. But at the same time, we also have guys have Nelson Cruz, Saxby. You know, your team's holding him right now. We have guys like Rich Hill, Chris. You know that. Oliver Perez. Everybody forgets he actually played for the Diamondbacks this year. Cano dropped already, and we also have a guy like Sergio Romo. I don't even know where he plays right now. So I'm saying 40 years old is like a weird age in MLB right now. You could either be like a guy that's about to win the Cy Young and you're about to be the guy that like no one even knows who you play for. I know it's a weird opening take, but like we don't talk about the older guys in baseball
It's
much
true.
anymore. And to hear some of those names out there, it's kind of weird. Like you have Verlander top of his game and Sergio Romo, who's like better known playing guys on MLB The Show.
Yeah, man, and you know, for my opening take, I think I'm gonna go with another take that no one really talks about. You know, nothing really being talked about right now. Nothing that we haven't talked about, and that's Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is. Listen,
No one
man.
talks about him.
Aaron Judge is now leading for the Triple Crown race. He's now number 1 in batting average. So that's kind of another tick on his resume, and we're gonna talk about it again. Spoiler alert: we're gonna be talking about this MVP thing a little bit later. Now that we got a new guest, a new host, I should say. But man, dude, this year that Aaron Judge is having is so sensational. If anything was how it was the other night, I mean, Aaron Judge hit his 60th home run, or I believe it was his 59th, and then Giancarlo Stanton hits a grand slam. So Wolfie, You might be winning this debate right now that we had between Bryce Harper and Giancarlo Stanton. So far, we have to wait to see what's going on in the playoffs. But so far, I think you might have it. But yeah, I mean, I don't count the Yankees out, man. I'm not a Yankees fan by any means. I just love Aaron Judge, and I think this guy is different this year. I can't see a playoff choke job. If that is the case, that's crazy. That would be absolutely nuts. But overall, he's now winning the Triple Crown. That's just like, who is this guy? Where did this fucking guy come from, man?
He's winning it.
So, DeVante, what's up, man?
Guards, come on now. Xander Bogaerts,
What?
man. Xander Bogaerts is gonna start every game at his position. He's gonna make sure he doesn't win the Triple Crown. Come on now. You know better than
Xander.
that.
Red Sox 2-1.
Ooh, that's a fire
another,
sweater though.
Boston homer. Oh my gosh.
Had to. Might just pull out something for the Astros.
Two NL East, two AL East. Saxby, stick together with me, bud. I don't care if you're a Nats fan. You see, I don't care. We're it's us two against them too.
So talk to us, man. Talk to us, DeVante. What's your opening take, man? What you got for us?
Ohtani deserves more recognition. Last year, he won the floor. Come on now, MVP. This year, he got even better numbers than he did last year. And why are we not talking about him? I mean, don't get me wrong. Aaron Judge, he's that man. He's carrying the Yankees on the back. He's like Boots and Dora. It doesn't get any better than that. But Ohtani, when you could do it both ways, come on, man. Deserves way more recognition.
Both ways, man. Pause. But yeah, what's up, Chris? What's your opening take? What you got for us, Chris?
I'm excited to see a Rockies player, and that player is Ezequiel Tovar. He's a shortstop. He's he's top 30 prospect across MLB. He hits very well. He's a shortstop. He doesn't have a crazy power, but he moved up through AA very fast, and then he played like 5 or 6 games in AAA, and they're moving him up this Sunday actually, or this Saturday. So I'm excited to see him play because the Rockies don't have a lot to talk about these days. Maybe Freeland throwing well 1 game out of 20, but yeah. So that's my first opening take, and let's just get right into it. Right, DeVante's here, so. Bigger bases next year, pitch clock, right? Do you guys think now we will see more 40-40s? Will be the return? If so, who do you think gets it?
What's up,
All right,
Wolf?
well, yeah, I'll lead this off. All right, so at first I was a little skeptical, but I'm going to say yes, of course. They're going to have bigger bases, and Chris, you brought it up a couple weeks ago when we were talking about this in the episode of rule changes. You're like, that millisecond, that half of a second, that couple, centimeters of a base really does count in these replays and guys stealing. But we also have guys like J-Ram coming up, Witt's actually coming up, Adley's actually, a little speedy. I don't think 40-40, but, young players that could hit and steal. With that being said, I'm a little curious if they're going to bring back that home run baseball that we saw in 2018. And considering they're expanding bases to see more action, I think they're going to get rid of this 2022 ball and go back to the 2018 ball where we see guys like Bellinger and Yelich hitting 55 home runs. With that, plus bigger bases, hell yeah. And you said guys that could do it. Obviously, J-Ram, Acuna could do it. Even if Tatis got popped, I think he could still do it. And I'm going to go out on a limb right here. If we bring back the other baseball and everybody's playing hot, Lindor is an underdog.
I can definitely agree with that.
So that's my take. Yes.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you're talking about bigger bases. Chris, you brought up on 2 podcasts ago that they're going to be watching the pitch clock. So you think of some guys. First off, I'll give you the number 1 guy that I think is going to do it. It's going to be Julio Rodriguez, of course. I mean, I'm not going to veer away from Julio Rodriguez. But now we're going to start think about some other guys though. Like let's think about Trey Turner first off. Like, even if he doesn't get the 40 home runs part, let's think about how many stolen bases he's going to have alone, right? But if you want those 40-40 guys, you're going to have, Corbin Carroll, who just got called up. You're going to have Bobby Witt. He has some pop in his bat. You're going to have O'Neal Cruz. You got Tyler O'Neill, Julio Rodriguez, like I just said.
O'Neal, yeah.
Mike Trout's still a possibility. He's still got speed in his legs. Shohei Ohtani could do something very historic and get 40-40.
Yep.
He's stealing bases. And then you have those guys that are really smart, like maybe an Aaron Judge, who can get those 40 stolen bases just by watching the clock, just by the bigger bases, just by being a smart base runner. And, of course, you got Tatis. I mean, Tatis is probably going to come back and be the guy that gets 40-40. I mean, we can't forget about that guy just because he got popped for steroids. He's still Fernando Tatis at the end of the day. So
Yep.
to your answer, Chris, yes. And again, my prediction would be Julio Rodriguez. What's up, DeVante? What you think?
For me, you already touched on with Shohei. I think for the first time in history, we're gonna see Shohei hit 40 bombs, give you 40 stolen bases, and then again might even be able to three-peat MVP. But that's another discussion for another different time. But with the bigger bases brings more opportunities for players to come into the game and just show what they really got. Like even though O'Neal Cruz might not hit 40, I'm pretty sure he'll give you 40 to even 50 stolen bases next year. But hopefully even drops 20 home runs next year. But I got Shohei Ohtani at number one.
I think, pitch clock is very important. Just like you said, I think those players that you named are definitely on the path to being very successful base runners and, getting back to the 40-40 days. I think also what's gonna be like neutralizing is for the pitchers with only two pickoffs per plate appearance, and then think about a guy like the Mets Walker, right? Like his first pickoff move is very like nonchalant, just like just a little check, but then
Really
his
damn good.
second one is when he like he hooks you, he gets you. So that then he only has two attempts, so that then becomes in a plate appearance, in a long plate appearance, that gives guys an opportunity to make a run because he might get you in a say it's like a nine pitch at bat, he only gets two attempts over, so he's got to maybe space it out between three and maybe the fifth pitch, or if he uses it on the first two pitches, then the runner's going to be like, all right, well, this guy can't pick me off. He's going to be able to get a bigger lead off of first base, and then he can go. So I think that's going to be something we see is longer pitch counts. We see guys just take off because if it's you can
Yeah.
see the pitches coming, like fastball, like the guy's got to throw a changeup once. I mean, but then again, we are seeing 90 mile per hour changeup, so like off speed stuff. So it's a new
That's
game.
so
Yeah,
true, though.
and if
No,
there's players that I think that this overall is like really gonna help, and I mean like overly help, guy that comes to mind besides Acuna, because Acuna is obviously a big benefactor from this. I forgot to mention him along with Tatis. Those are the two 40 for 40 guys, I think. But Byron Buxton, I think Byron Buxton's definitely, because he's only stolen, I still believe, like 5 stolen bases this year, 5, 6, which is a complete shock. But this might be what could help get him, over that little, whatever hump it is, besides the health. Whatever hump that was there this year, I hope this helps him get over that because he's definitely an electric player that's going to benefit from this. And another person, very underrated, Michael A. Taylor on the Kansas City Royals. He's still a pretty fast player, but obviously not fast enough where you would send him a lot of the time. But now bases are bigger. He's honestly a very underrated 40-40 threat because he has a lot of pop in that bat.
I want to say that Acuna, before he got hurt last year, he was on pace for possibly a 40-40.
Oh,
So I
definitely.
definitely think he's going to get it, next year.
oh yeah, he's like a clear candidate.
And you see the pitchers. You see the pitcher's reaction to the bigger bases. Like Rich, did you guys see Rich Hill? Rich Hill came out with the big like I want to say it was like a beanbag or something that was like real large, and he was just putting it on the base instead, And guys aren't happy. I mean, pitchers aren't happy because that.
Well, it's like I said in my opening intro. At least he's 40 years old. He won't be worrying about it in a couple years.
Yeah, it's just I don't know that it's that little bit of that. The thing about those plays where it's so close, like those plays don't become close anymore, or they
Heck,
become less as close.
JT Realmuto might steal more. I mean, all these guys might steal more. Nomo might become a 20 stolen base threat. Not even just talking about 40-40 guys. We're just talking about stolen bases in general. Pete Alonso has 6 stolen bases. I mean, what the hell? We're talking about like guys that
You,
just might have that thought in their head that, oh, it's just that much closer. And they're just going to steal.
all
I'm not
right,
going to say it's going to work all the time, but we're going to see guys have to throw guys out more, plays being made more. Even the other day, the Pirates threw in the Met game, they threw it in the center field. It's like, yo, let's go. Let's like put the thought in people's head to steal. Like that'll be great. I want to see more action. I want to see more stolen bases.
how many
Even if guys don't get 40-40, I just 30-30, 20-20 will be nice.
I want to see
how
bigger
many
guys steal more
bases
bases.
like
What's up?
Rowdy and Vogelback? You want to see those guys running
Of
bases?
No,
course.
Yeah, dude, fuck yeah. Dude, Dylan Bundy is such a good number 3 or 4 or whatever he is.
oh
Dude,
dude,
I
I hate
absolutely
Dylan Bundy.
admire Dylan Bundy.
Yo,
Everybody's he's one of those pitchers. You know what? I'm gonna say it. There's so many pitchers out recently that win Cy Youngs or get really good or have like one half of a season in 2020 that all of a sudden everybody's banking on. I said to you guys a couple of weeks ago with Rodon, and it's even Robbie Ray. It's like everybody banks on one pitcher winning something, and they think they're God's gift to the earth. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm just throwing that out there.
who's this
Stop
year's
being good
player
for one season.
for you?
I
Who's
don't
this
know.
year's player for you in that regard?
I mean, probably Robbie Ray. I mean, the dude won the Cy Young. What's he doing now? 4 ERA? Plus,
He's
after
having
getting
a
that huge
decent
contract.
year.
Yo,
I mean, yeah, decent.
I'm gonna say this. I'm
Dude,
gonna say
even
this.
Cole.
I might sound crazy. I'm gonna say the Mariners make it further than the Mets in the playoffs.
Nah, you're talking real crazy.
I'm
No,
gonna say it right now.
yeah.
I'm saying it right now.
No, dude,
I'll
and
say it right now.
I'll say this.
I'll say it right now. I just said it.
I agree! I agree!
Bro. Yo,
The only excuse you could have to that is that the AL sucks this year. It's the truth. Dude, the Yankees aren't even gonna. They're barely gonna crack 100 wins. Maybe the NL East is gonna have 2 people plus 100 wins. It's
that's
gonna be like the NL West of last year and the NL East.
I don't
Like,
know. That's
what are we
arguable.
talking about? All right. Dodgers to the Houston Astros. That's kind of the same. Cardinals are better than Guardians, and the Mets and Braves are better than anybody in the AL East. So,
I believe that. I believe that.
I mean,
what are
I
we
would
talking
say
about?
the Braves are. I mean, the Yankees still
I'll
have
say
and I'm not a Yankees fan. You
The
guys
Mets are
fucking
not
know.
better
You
than
guys
the
know that I'm
Yankees.
not cheering for the fucking Yankees, but
yo, you're
they have.
crazy.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna take you guys through who we think is gonna win each award. So I don't mean every award like Silver Slugger, Gold Glove, all that craziness. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you the AL and the NL Rookie of the Year. We're gonna give you what we think is the best story and the worst story. We're gonna give you the AL and NL Cy Young, the AL and NL Least Valuable Player, the best bullpen out of the AL and NL, the best bullpen player, I should say. Sorry, and then the AL and NL MVP. So DeVante, putting you on the spot, man. You're gonna lead us off on every single one of these. We got to get you warm, man. We got to get you loose. We're just throwing you out there. So who's the AL Rookie of the Year?
AL Rookie of the Year gotta be none other than DR's very own, young, jacked up to the gills. You don't even know what he's eating at this point. Papa Julio. Come on now. My guy just came out of no. Well, he's been putting in his numbers before coming up. He's been waiting for his turn how many years now? I actually don't even know at this point. That's beside the point. The kid's putting on a show. He's putting the on his back. And not only that, the more you see him play, the more you look forward to seeing DR come next year in the World Baseball Classics to take it all.
Hell yeah, man! I love that. I love that. I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go with Papa Julio, baby. It's Julio Rodriguez season. We're talking Rookie of the Year this year, MVP next year. I'll go out on a limb and say it. If we get a Julio Rodriguez that from game 1 to game 162 is on and hitting like he has been ever since that slow first month and a half that he had, I strongly do believe Julio Rodriguez is definitely going to be a threat for AL MVP next year. But obviously, we're talking this year. I mean, obviously, some names come to mind that are in competition, with him in regards to Pena and Witt. But I gotta go Julio Rodriguez. I mean, he's giving you the home runs, he's giving you the steals, he's giving you the D. I mean, he's giving you that I don't know if he's giving you the D, but he's giving you everything. And like Devontae said, he's jacked. I mean, this kid is in some good shape. Not to be that guy, but like he has the body
Be that
athletic
guy. Be that
figure.
guy.
He has the body athletic figure of someone that's going to last a long time in this league. So it's good to see. It's good to see that we get to watch the first year of what seems to be a generational talent. I can't get enough of this guy. I don't want a little bit. I want the whole thing. Yo, Chris, who's the AL Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I mean, I think this at this point, Julio's like a minus 5,000 on the betting line. So I'm gonna go with Julio. I think, down the line, just like you said, we're gonna see him earn that contract. If the contract, the high end says if he's in the MVP race pretty much or wins the MVP, he earns the highest amount of his contract he signed this year. So I look forward to seeing that in a few years.
Wolf?
I mean, obviously, we're going to go 4 for 4 and go with Julio Rodriguez. The thing I find interesting, though, is actually looking at it is that how low Bobby Witt Jr. is on the totals. He's actually not even in like the top 5 of NL or AL, excuse me, Rookie of the Years. But one thing that is pretty cool to look about is that George Kirby for the Seattle Mariners is actually the third right now
Third,
in betting odds
yeah.
to we yeah, and think about that. So you have two guys in the top 3 of the AL Rookie of the Year. One of the guys you just gave a contract to, one of the guys that has a sub 3 ERA at 2.98. That's a really good promising future you have going
Let's not
forward.
also
So
forget that
while we
Logan
all do
Gilbert's in
agree,
his second season as well.
oh,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just to add more onto it, but just to show that in the first year, I actually didn't kind of like, I kind of forgot that like with all those guys, like you said, that they have that he was in his first year, Kirby, but that he is and has that good of an ERA. Plus, they're most likely, knock on wood, going to the playoffs. That's a really cool sign for them going forward. So, and Ty France, obviously, a little bit down the line, but kind of a younger player too. Not to get into that, but just Julio's going to win it, but just seeing Kirby there at third, just to add more to it, that's a nice finishing touch for the Mariners.
Definitely, that's
Yeah,
a
I
that's
agree.
that's that's definitely a good take. NL Rookie of the Year, Devontae.
I have Spencer Strider. I like the young buck. Came out of nowhere. He's pitching his ass off. And the kid also has. Damn, I just wrote it down. I can't find it for some reason. That's beside the point. We're on with Spencer Strider all the way. I don't really go too in on pitchers per se, unless it's Otani because he's a road to the show character. Goodness gracious. But I'm going Spencer Strider all the way.
I think your head's cut off. So I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna go with Michael Harris, who's on the same team. This is a little bit more ridiculous than the Mariners story here. The Braves just keep pulling players out of their ass, and here's two more: Michael Harris and Spencer Strider. So I'm gonna go with Harris, and the reason being is that first off, like this dude's a 21-year-old rookie. You're jumping into a lineup. You're getting comparisons to Acuna already amongst other good players. And, you're hitting 306, 18 home runs, 59 RBIs, 18 stolen bases. He is striking out a lot, but that's typical for your rookie. But overall, I mean, he's hitting the hell out of the ball, and no one saw it coming. So, what do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I'm going to say is I think it's either one of those guys, but it's whoever is best down this stretch right here going into the playoffs is going to
Nah,
win that
who's your
MVP.
winner?
I mean, it's so it's for me it's so close because Harris like has just been just very. I mean, they've both just been very good down the stretch. Like they're both like already cementing above like if you rank people in tiers and you say like the top 50 or tier 1, like they're in the tier 2, like they're and possibly in the tier. I mean, I'm not gonna say they're top 50,
I
but
quick thought here. I want to know if they can make a stat because they're both in their rookie season, and I think it might be safe to say that and maybe it might be a stretch for Harris, but they might be top 10 MVP and top 10 Cy Young, at least top 15 for both. I want to know if that's ever happened for any team to have two of their rookies in top 15 of the major awards because that's incredible.
yeah, and the betting line is this is why I say it's so close. The betting line right now is minus 140 to minus 110. So like it's pretty close race, and whoever goes Strider, I think Strider's at an advantage because he's only going to pitch maybe once or twice more, but maybe they even rest. No, I don't think they were going to rest because they're going to try to get the second seed. But um, I think he's got a better. He's only going to pitch twice, where Harris plays out. I mean, I'm not saying Harris is going to fall off the face of the earth, but it's just too close. I think what's scary is that the not scary, but the next guys below them are like plus 50,000. So it's not even like close for those two. If I had to pick though, right now on the spot, fate of the universe, I'm picking I'm picking Strider because I think he's meant the thing. I think I'm gonna pick Strider. It's tough though because Harris, he was Acuna came back and he was a little sluggish and he kind of really filled in like for him, but Strider kind of did the same thing for the pitching staff. So I think he becomes just the and then in a few years he could be your ace.
All right. So when you guys started talking, my original take was Spencer Strider, and then all of a sudden I heard Saxby started talking, and I'm like, "Yo, Michael Harris Jr." I actually had him on my fantasy team, and I'm like,
Bro, you were
"Yo,
building
he's
that
got
up
some
very,
pop.
very violently.
He's got some average. He's got some stolen bases. He's got some home runs." And you know what? He's almost one of those guys you can even think about maybe a 40-40-30-30 going forward. And I'm like, oh, damn, it's almost a clear cut. And then I took a step back and I realized Saxby's
This is a
wrong.
roller coaster.
It, it's not Michael Harris Jr. And I'll say why. He's been around for a while. Yes, he has a high average. He doesn't have 20 home runs. He doesn't have 20 stolen bases.
He's on base. He's
He
on
has
pace to hit
such
20. He's at
on pace,
18.
yes, but not now. Plus, he's been around. If we're talking rookie of the year, we're talking rookie of the year. Like, what are we gonna give it to Rushman too? Like, no. But He's a great player.
Come on,
Got a
man.
nice average, good glove, but Spencer Strider is definitely the rookie of the year.
Is that your
Dude's
final
got almost a
answer, man?
2.5 ERA. He's got 200 plus strikeouts already. Yes, it's Spencer. He's almost averaging 2 strikeouts an inning. Yeah, it's Spencer Strider. He is the rookie of the year.
Dude, you sent my heart through, like, you were playing with my heartstrings right there.
Had to come at you.
I mean, yeah, I really, like I
I
said,
mean, both deserve it. It's
yeah,
close.
close.
because
Close.
Spencer Strider is having a really good season, putting up some freakish strikeout
16
numbers.
Ks.
Who's to say Michael Harris doesn't hit 7 home runs in 7 straight games down the stretch here and
God said that.
leaves
He
him?
just called me and said it's
I
not
mean,
happening.
dude, like, anything's possible. That's all I'm gonna say. Anything is possible.
No, it's true.
It's
But I'm
close.
saying,
It's
like,
too
one guy
close. It's
struck
too
out-
close.
Yes, I completely agree. It's not like, oh my God, it's Strider, but when like he's throwing 16 strikeouts in his like rookie year, and he's doing crazy stuff, and this guy's just disappearing. It's Spencer Strider.
I'm dead.
DeVante, are you okay? I'll get you a Blue Yeti, bro. They're only like 100. It's the
Oh,
one
it's
that
a
I'm
Blue Yeti.
using. It's the one that I'm using.
Oh, it's Mike.
What up?
Hey yo, what's that noise in the
I was thinking
background?
I was thinking the Yeti, like, you know, the Yeti, like, cups.
The cooler,
What's a cup gonna help? I was like, why goes to this guy a cup?
What are you gonna give him a thermos?
I'm like, why? Goes?
I just sent DeVante a fucking cup. I'm like, get your shit together. Here's a cup.
I'm like, why? I'm like a Yeti. I'm like, you know what I mean? Those like
He
tumblers.
fucking goes. Imagine this dude goes, I'm gonna send you a mic, and just sends him a fucking $20 thermos.
Nah, those blue Yeti. Those are
Oh, dude, this will help you
Yeti.
drink water during the podcast, man.
those
Yeah.
Yeti cups are. Like,
Whew. Okay, that was good. So, best story in the major leagues. The best story, DeVante. What is, in your opinion, what's the best story this year?
Best story this year. Gotta be biased again and give it to DR with Albert Pujols, captain of DR. He's Captain America. Well, he's Captain DR in the sense that, you know, he's been beaten up. He's been thrown everywhere. You know,
Dude, you should see this dude running around the bases for these home runs. It's hard to watch.
he reminds me of me trying to run around the bases and shit. That's a different story for another day. But who other than Albert Pujols himself? A man that everybody thought was already down and out, and he's like, nah, hold up, wait a minute. And then comes, puts on a show for us in the home run derby, even though, you know, Kyle Schwarber sold it to us,
Yeah.
you know, that was like a little WWE promo, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's so true.
That was like if Roman Reigns and John Cena fought at like WrestleMania one more time. Well, I don't think they've ever fought, but you understand where I'm going. But who better than Albert Pujols right now? It's coming out of nowhere.
Yeah,
hitting
man.
dongs.
It was crazy.
I'm gonna agree.
It was crazy.
Two people we've talked about tonight.
I'm gonna agree with DeVante. I'm gonna go Albert Pujols here. I think for me the reason why it's the best story is exactly what DeVante said. I mean, for a man to have that start to his career and then watch him play as a shell of himself for basically the majority of my adulthood, well, the entirety of my adulthood, I've watched this shell of Albert Pujols play.
That's crazy to think about. Actually,
But
that's a good point.
and that's
a
the
good
thing is
point.
like he fell off so fucking hard and is still out there about to give us a 700th home run, and
That's crazy.
undoubtedly he's gonna finish his career as a top 5 hitter of all time, and
Mhm.
that it's crazy because of how hard he's fallen off since those years in St. Louis. But those years in St. Louis, man, that guy, a machine. I don't want to say the best baseball player I've ever seen because I would still say Griffey at his best, Alex Rodriguez at his best, some players like that. But nonetheless, it's been an absolute joy watching this broken down old man still give us what's going to be a 20 home run season and give us, a 700th home run. I think it's absolutely amazing to see. And to see it in his final season, along with Wainwright and Yadier, who are also in their final season, there's a lot of that energy going on in St. Louis. That's why I'm not counting them out. For sure, for sure. Chris, what do you think? What's the best story to come out of the major leagues this year?
Yeah, I wasn't really prepared. I was gonna pick the same story as you guys, so I'm gonna say, it's just the St. Louis Cardinals in general because Wainwright and Molina, 326 battery mates together now, I think it is,
An
and
insane
I
record.
don't think we'll ever see that again. I don't the way that the business is now, like trading away players and like free agency and stuff. I don't think we'll ever see it again. So it's just the St. Louis Cardinals of 2022 have all the history.
I might have to like pivot to something different right now. It's like I was gonna say either it's Pujols or it's Judge. I mean, like both of those guys are going on like a rant right now. Like one's about to hit 70, one's about to hit 60, and I guess I don't want to add a third, but I guess I throw on like the guys we talked about, Julio, these guys doing plus 40-40s. I think seeing some of these records being broken and some good stats coming back to the game, a lot of action coming to the game. I mean, Saxby, like you said, with Pujols doing this, there's like almost a part of me because like you said, he fell off so fast, and I'm not saying I forgot about the Angels' career, but it's almost like you're kind of remembering that like pool holes that people used to talk about, where there's like
Yeah,
something to look
like
forward
for
to,
for
right?
me, it was like for years we watched this guy. Like we felt bad. Like I felt so bad watching this guy play when he was an Angel. It sucked. It sucked
Yep.
because it was either he was struggling with the bat or he had the plantar fasciitis, which it felt like he had that every year since he got to LA. It was just watching a real just shell, and you could tell it was the looks on his face too. It sucked. It was almost like he was disinterested at some points. That sucked to see too. But it's nice to see it all come back in one final year and him deliver that to us for
Absolutely.
sure. So
Yeah,
Kind of almost makes me
I
forget
could
about the
I
Angels
can
a little
never
bit. But
I can never pivot to a Yankees story, by the way. So more power to you, Wolfie. More power to you.
at least I sprinkled in the Cardinals, but it's just some good baseball going on right now.
worst story, DeVante. What is the worst story to come from the MLB this season?
Aside from the Boston Red Sox, what a disappointing year it's been since Chris Sale wants to, ride a fucking bike and bust his ass, break his hand, come back, face Aaron Hicks, and then Aaron Hicks just destroyed him on the mound. You saw what happened to his hand. He just walked off. My man showed the pinky and just walked off. Went in to the back, probably broke like 4 monitors, took one of the complimentary drinks and was just tossing it at the fan. So like 98 miles an hour, one with one finger hanging off his hand. Everything. Fucking. So you already know Alex Cora tried to come in and talk to him, and he was just not with none of that shit. He's coming, he's throwing everything at him. And he's like, "You should have done that on the field, not back here. You crazy, dog."
Yeah, so my that's crazy.
You should
Uh,
have done. I'm dead.
my my worst story to come out of the major leagues this year, I'll be that guy and say Fernando Tatis because again it makes me mad thinking about it because I mean you're the face of the MLB or one of the faces. I think we could have confidently said it was him and Otani kind of as the faces that the MLB chose to be the face of the league. But what's disappointing for me is that he's a real electric, great player that I want to see play. It's not even that I don't want to see him play anymore. I still want to see this guy play. So the fact that we got robbed out of a full year of Fernando Tatis, and the way it happened and how ugly it is and how ugly it's going to be for him moving forward, I think it's pretty.
You think his story adds up about whatever that shit was for his half?
Um, I mean, not really because it's like at the end of the day, you know who you are. You're Fernando Tatis Jr. You know you're one of the faces of MLB. You know you're that guy. Why are you just putting shit on your body and not doing your research? That's what I don't believe. I promise you that he's on top of that, or he at least has people around him that are on top of that. I'm not saying he's out here just. I'm not out here saying he's doing all that.
Imagine
But
being his barber
Yes,
right
you
now.
are.
Nobody's gonna want a
Yes,
haircut
you
from him.
are.
right, I think it's just
You're
it's
gonna come
just
over
a
there with
front.
like a hazmat
Because
suit.
at the end of the day, even if it was from your barber or whatever, that's still careless. Like what the hell are you doing?
His barber is now blacklisted on the barber fucking on the barber Hall of Fame of
It's
MLB.
did just like the Ryan Braun situation, how he got that FedEx worker
Oh
fired.
man, for a fact,
Yes,
literally,
indeed.
I like it. See, that's good. That's good.
So, Chris, what's your worst story?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna cry about the Red Sox real quick. Just they knew they needed, they needed bullpen help. They didn't get it. They go and get Story. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a big fan of that signing. It sends mixed signals to the locker room, right? You bring in a guy who you good, Wolf?
Yeah,
You
I
bring in a
tried.
guy who plays fucking shortstop, and Xandar's towards the end of his contract, and it's like, are you gonna fucking get rid of him this year or next year? Like, what the fuck, man? And it's just very frustrating because if you would have got that help and you would have fucking just signed somebody better than fucking Bobby Delback, and you know what I mean? Like, it's disappointing because you have Devers, you have fucking Verdugo who's played well. You have Kiki, like you got guys like, and you had Aurora who played well this year. Like you could have done something this year, and you didn't fucking do anything in the off season, and who the fuck knows what happens this off season? So that's my rant, and fuck, fucking. I feel like a Mets fan right now, to be honest.
Mets fan is great.
All right. Well,
This is,
speaking
this
of
is
that, I'll
how
go right
this is
into my
how I would
story then.
imagine
All
Mets
right.
fans feel. This is how
I
I would
was waiting
imagine
for
because,
someone to
like,
say Tom, but he said
on
miserable
paper,
Mets fan. All right, I'm in here, like something like
uh,
that. Yeah.
on paper, like, we had a shot. People were giving the Sox a shot, and then, you know, just, you know,
You
rest
could
is
say that we
history.
also feel like the Yankees, because come on now, how many years have they been fumbling the bag?
Yeah.
You know what I'm gonna say the worst stories? You guys said Red Sox. You said Red Sox. I'm gonna talk about another Sox, the White Sox, but not just the White Sox. That whole division. I know, minus your Cleveland Guardians, Chris, but the White Sox, the Twins. Don't even get me started on Detroit and the Royals. Like, though, even those two teams, the Twins were in first place for most of the year. They puttered out. The White Sox, we had such high expectations. We've talked about them. I feel like every single week with Cease and Giolito and
Dude,
Jimenez
it's
and
such
Anderson
a
and
fucking
Robert.
big group of
It's like
talent. You're pissing me off all over again.
Right? It's like I don't even mean to bring them up again, but it's like when you think of like worst stories, we touched on the Twins a lot. We broke it down last week, but that whole division, it's like what the heck happened? Like even the Detroit Tigers, they went out and spent money on Rodriguez, who took like a break for like a couple months. I think everybody forgot about that. I don't, is he? Did he ever come back? Uh, Baez has a yeah, and like I said, I'm fine with it, but like whatever happened, like I'm just curious. And then Baez, they gave a good contract to. Soto's obviously got talent, but like the rest of the team, it's Riley's been here and there, a bright spot, but not like guys like Witt and Rodriguez we've talked about. Even Witt actually with the Royals, they've there's a lot of talent, like one name talent in that division. but just overall the teams pitching, hitting, fielding, everything, like they're pretty rough, and it's like guys blew it. Twins, White Sox, and the rest of the division just sucks. It's like that's the
Don't
worst story. They're terrible.
don't let's not
Yeah.
shame the Royals though, because we all know the Royals. They sold hard at the trade deadline. They did the right thing. Let's not fucking, let's not
No,
be
that's a
mean
good
to the
point.
Royals.
Good point.
They did the right things at the
I
deadline.
mean,
And I
you just look at the
But
White
like,
Sox like team, like you said, Wolfie. Like you look at that team, and it's just like how like Tony La Russa, like such
oh
a
yeah,
wasted year. Like, why did you have to get Tony La Russa? Why did you have to? How can this not align? Like, you got a Cy Young candidate leading a really what should be a solid rotation. I mean, Johnny Cueto is giving you a good season. What the fuck?
yeah,
How are you? Like, Johnny Cueto's giving you a good season. Dylan Cease is giving you a Cy Young season. You're wasting that. Liam Hendricks is still, in my opinion, I know he's had his moments this year, but he's still a top closer in this league. And then, the bullpen, you look at their
Lance
bullpen
Lynn.
on paper, you look at their bullpen, it should be a good bullpen. And then you look through their lineup, and, I'm going to mention this guy later, but Yasmani Grandal completely shit the bed.
Yep.
You're getting a good season out of Jose Abreu, but Moncada, where is the development in that guy? Where's the development in Eloy? Where's Luis Robert to even begin with? That dude was day to day for 3 straight fucking weeks. Like,
Yeah, it's
like,
crazy, and and it's wild. You bring up all these names like Grandal and whether it be obviously Anderson, like pretty much Moncada, their whole lineup. It's like Hendricks, uh, Lance Lynn's had like a rough season, but like overall he should be a good pitcher. There's so much talent on that team, and I think one of the big reasons why they screwed up is what you just said is Tony La Russa. And the fact that they still have him around is
it's it's
mind-boggling.
very sad because it's like you look.
Look what the
I
Phillies do.
look at this roster, and this roster should be a roster that we're talking about with the Yankees and the Astros right now. Like, if the White Sox were who they were
Yep,
supposed to be, we're not
absolutely.
talking about the AL as if they're some trash. We're comparing them to the NL. Because then now you have the Astros, the White Sox, and the Yankees as top, World Series threats. And then you have your teams like the Mariners and the Blue Jays and the Rays. But no, instead again, the Guardians are playing really really good baseball right now. But it like how, why of all this could have been a generational team. This could have very much been a generational
Absolutely.
team, and now it's just a wasted
This guy.
year.
Come on, man.
he's
When I
a
look at like the
bandwagon. He's a
Indians,
bandwagon with
I
me.
still don't know how I feel about the Guardians. I call them the Guardians of the Galaxy, but
um, um, I was gonna say something. I forgot now.
It's just wild though, like you said, the talent they have, and like they should have been like a team that you would, like you said, beat the Yankees.
Dude, like we're
what happened
looking
to
at
They
Lance
were in
Lynn?
the. They
Lance
were
like
in
Lynn
we
blew
the.
up the
thought
fucking world.
Eloy,
They were
like
in the
Eloy
game
Jimenez, this
last year.
combination of
Oh my
Eloy
God.
Jimenez, Yoan
Yohan
Moncada, and Luis
Moncada?
Robert alone, those three together, that was supposed to be like 2, 3, 4.
Literally.
Watch out, and then Anderson as your 1 and Abreu as 5. It's
The
crazy. And then
fact
Grandal,
that we
who
gave
has
up
like an
Moncada,
OPS under his average or some dumb shit like that. When we talk, speaking of pitching, AL Cy Young, DeVante, who's your AL Cy Young?
AL Cy Young is none other than Houston's very own Justin Verlander. He's giving me Nolan Ryan vibes. I don't know. He's coming, 2 years sitting out for blowing out his elbow or his arm, whatever it was, for Tommy John, and then he want to come back and say, "Yeah, it wasn't the spider tag that was helping me before. Now it's the old age, and who fucking else knows what else he's taking? He has
Dude, he's drinking fucking car oil, bro. I don't know. He's doing like.
he's doing. He got it from DR. I'm a firm believer in that. Yo, the guy is 17-3, has an ERA of
Seen his wife?
1.78. That's ridiculous. 1.78 after not pitching for 2 years. What the fuck is this guy doing? Like, what's this homework he's doing against everybody he's facing right now? Like,
I
how do
mean,
you
yeah.
not get
So
in the box and face him and just be like, yeah, it's an automatic strikeout?
and yeah, I'm gonna agree. I'm going Justin Verlander here. I mean, like you said, he's like 50. He's out there just old man and everything. I mean, I think he's still married to Kate Upton. This dude. So when you think about human beings, right? And you think about the
They have a
absolute
perfect fucking life.
like the absolute winners in life, like the ones that just took life by the balls and got everything that they absolutely wanted. You got the
Mhm.
hot wife, you got the Hall of Fame career, you got the ring, even though it was tainted, but you got the ring. But it's like he had nothing left to prove, but this guy still came back and is like, what? It's like DeVante said, what is going on? It's like this guy is so good at baseball, it doesn't even matter. And
I couldn't
he
agree
came
more.
back from a DL stint late in the season. I've like it's like Max Scherzer, what he did last night, or I believe it was the night before, Monday night, when he had the 6 innings of perfect hit, ball coming off an injury. Verlander comes off of injury. I know it was against the Athletics, but 5 innings, 9 strikeouts, no hits given up. It's absolute madness.
He makes it look
Absolute
easy.
madness.
And let's not forget he threw a no hitter, what, 2 years ago? At his old ass age. Like, what I'm liking about baseball right now, these old players, I don't even like to say old, because 40 to me is kind of like the new 30, maybe 35. These guys are 40 and they making 20-year-olds look like babies next to them. You got David Ortiz in his final year, what, 42 years old? He was an MVP candidate. He was top three in the league for DH at that. And then you have Nolan Ryan. I don't know what Nolan Ryan's doing. They probably talking to him in his ear or buzzing something, telling him, yeah, he expects a curveball, so he throws a fastball. His fastball's still hitting, what, 101, 102 something?
At least a solid 102.
Bro, it's like watching like your fucking grandpa get off the couch and just fucking absolutely annihilate you in like
Word. Talking
what's
about, yeah,
something you
back in
think
my
you're good
day,
at.
let me show you something.
Right. Like let me show you something. He actually absolutely just fucking smokes you. Like I remember like it was like my dad and Wii Bowling, bro. It's like when my dad fucking smoked me in Wii Bowling.
That's fucking ridiculous, man. That is ridiculous.
Yo, Chris, who's your who's your AL Cy Young?
I feel like Wolfie's gonna pick Verlander. I'm actually gonna pick Valdez, and I'll tell you why. I'm
Wow,
big
there you
into
go.
numbers, right? So let's take a look at the numbers, right? 25 straight quality starts. That is roughly 15% of 662 games. So 15% of all games you played this year, Valdez has put you in a position to win the game. I think that plus,
I
he's
like
gonna
that.
he might hit 200 Ks this year. I think, he's been healthy all year and he made history this year. So I'm going with Valdez.
That's that's a good pick. Wolf.
Oh, I mean, the clear favorite to me is probably Verlander as well. But one of the guys that I could see being like a dark horse is Alex Manoah. Well, he might not have as like top votes as like Verlander, Cease, and Valdez. I do think maybe he can get like a sneaky half. I mean, let's be honest. Overall, the guy's in his 40s and he's pitching a Cy Young year. It's crazy what he's doing. I mean, he's throwing like sub 2 ERAs out there when he's like. By the way, Sax, I gotta say one thing here. You're right. He has a perfect life. Everybody wants to be him. I would trade everything for him. But no, he's the Cy Young. Cease should get a nod. Uh, I think Valdez is probably like the third, but Justin Verlander is like he's been doing it. Plus, came back from a major injury, uh, and previous years has done it already. It's like everybody talks about Scherzer. I feel like a lot more than Verlander. I think you guys kind of hinted at the fact maybe with the cheating scandal or something. DeGrom gets talked about a lot. I feel like you even hear more like talk about like Kershaw and Cole and even Wainwright nowadays. We've talked about a lot more, but no one talks about Verlander, and he's the overall Cy Young at the age of 40. I think we could.
I don't think
You
anyone's
know
Yeah,
why
talking
they're not
about him
talking
because
about
the
him?
award is his.
2.5.
All right,
He
so
had a month
Yeah,
off.
2.5.
DeVante, NL Cy Young.
And oh, I gotta give it to Alcantara, man. I like the kid. You saw what Derek Jeter did to that team. Like it seemed like there was no coming back from all the best players they had at one point.
Hold on.
He's doing wonders for the Miami Marlins right now. And who who better than him from his team to be leading the pack, to be doing what he's doing, and to be bringing life to a team that is pretty much dead. To be honest, like they need a new logo at this point. That logo's done.
Yeah,
That logo's more done than fucking Jose Fernandez. But that's beside the point.
What? What? How do you say that? How do you say? Why?
man, dude. Oh man,
Man,
I was not
man, that was
expecting that.
I'm
dark.
gonna
That was
smoke to
That was
dark.
that.
so.
That was dark. That was...
I'm smoking to that because that was wicked. I disagree with Alcantara. I'm going with Julio Urias. Reason being is that Alcantara has fallen off recently. And what sucks is that if the Marlins were a good team right now, I would still say he's the Cy Young. But I think he's fallen off. He's fallen off enough for someone like Julio Urias to come in and grab it. Urias is leading the league in ERA plus. His strikeouts per nine, I believe, is right around nine. He's averaging a strikeout per inning. He's doing big things, and the most impressive thing about Julio Urias is that he's leading this rotation. A lot of people can say Gonsolin because he was the All-Star starter, but I believe you're looking at the number one, and that's Julio Urias. With everything that's gone on with the Dodgers this year and pertains to their pitchers, whether it was Bauer punching some girl in the face and now he's gone for 2 years, and then we have Kershaw can't stay on the mound. Bueller's gone for the year. That should be enough to really destroy a team. Not the Dodgers, but Julio Julio Urias has stepped up to the occasion. Obviously, Gonsolin has as well. But Urias has stepped up to the occasion really well, in my opinion. I think enough to be the Cy Young. What's up? What do you think, Chris?
Gonna have more too.
Urias for sure.
He doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going with Sandy. I think you know, the guy he's thrown 5 complete games this year. Like without him, the Marlins probably are at like 37, 38 wins on the season. Like I get it, he's only got 13 wins and he's got 8 losses, but like he's on the Marlins, he's still with those 8 losses, he's at a sub 2.4 ERA. So like the dude's got it. Like it's just a shame that he's on a bad team. But I think it's the same argument that I made with Ricky Shohei versus Judge. Bad teams, you switch them. You put Sandy on the fucking any other playoff team, he's their ace. Over even on the Mets, I think he would be your ace. That's a little shot at you, Wolfie.
All right, well, I'm gonna wrap up that take then because I'm gonna come at you with that. Alcantara is clearly Cy Young. But I'm gonna say this: give him the season he's going on, and Jake probably would be the Cy Young again. But I'm gonna go with you. Alcantara is clearly the favorite. I try to maybe see if Zach Gallen, even Max Fried, might be able to push that over the edge. But Alcantara's just been solid. And you brought it up a couple weeks ago, and reminiscing now, like, dude, his stats, especially his complete games, are like out of this world, especially in a league where we don't even see guys going past 6 or 7, and he has like almost double digits, not yet, but almost. It's like that's crazy for 2022. If he ever got on a team that would actually like imagine him on like the Dodgers or even the Yankees, like a team that like really could use him. Oh my gosh, like he would shine. And the Reds,
Yeah, why
you know
not
what
the
it is
Red
too, is
Sox?
that granted we're baseball fans, we know about him, but I feel like if he was on like the limelight team, the team that's winning, oh my gosh, he would be one of the like the most talked about pitchers in the league.
And I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't have said that early in the year too. I really thought that the way Corbin Burns started off, I thought he was just gonna run with it. I
Yep,
really thought he was gonna steal the
yep.
show this year. Big fan of him, but like
Yeah.
So let's pivot this completely. Who's your least valuable player in the AL, Devontae?
least valuable player in the damn. I would say Joey Gallo, but you saw what happened to Joey Gallo.
It's still a valid answer. I still think it's a valid answer.
As a matter of fact, I will replace Joey Gallo for Aaron Hicks because how you a switch hitting star, well, star, getting paid all this money to not catch a perfectly shaggable pop fly, making errors like you've never made errors before, and just it seems like New York really has gotten to him with how many years he was already, dealing with his injuries and not being able to play a whole season. That now he has a full
Yeah,
season to himself and he's just really shitting the bed and just showing you why the Yankees fucking suck.
that's definitely fair. I'm going with Yasmani Grandal. I was thinking about Lance Lynn here, but I'm going Yasmani Grandal because it's just like I can't stand this guy. Like I don't know how you go from being a top catcher in the league to you're hitting to barely hitting 200. Before this, he was hitting like something gross, so he's gotten a little bit better. But his slugging percentage is only 72 points away from his batting average. I don't know, man. This guy's swinging the wettest noodle I've ever seen. Uh, and if he's lucky, he's picked it up a little bit these past few games, or we'd be looking at one of the worst seasons of all time. But it's too little, too late. Like where was this leadership and everything that was needed earlier in the season? Whatever, man. Who do you think, Chris?
I'm going Bobby Dalbec because
Ooh.
he gave you 25 home runs last year. You think he's gonna turn the fucking corner and be the superstar that you need, and he just fucking takes a big leap
Yeah,
backwards.
we definitely got to do a Red Sox
And
therapy episode.
dude,
Hell yeah.
I've always just like there's always been Red Sox. I mean, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but there's always been like one guy on the team that I just like don't like. And that guy now is Bobby Dalbec. Like before, I'm trying to think of like a team before that. It's just one guy that I just didn't like, but he's the
I could
guy
shade this.
because
Bobby Dalbec. How do you feel about Frenchie Cordero? Because that's kind of how I felt, but like I had to give him, I had to let go of how I really felt only because they threw my first base a position he's never played and just how bad he was playing first base. Like wow.
yeah, but he was good last year though. You like yeah, like year over year, like 2 years ago. He hit like I want to say like a little bit over 250. He was a rookie, and then last year, his batting average drops a little bit, but he gave you 25 home runs. And at this point, it's like you've already like been in the league now. You should have been. This should have been a year where you take a
Yeah, and
big
I
leap,
thought
and
and I,
he took a big step backwards this year.
I
So I was gonna come at you and say like something like James McCann for the Mets or like some kind of like crappy player, but when I thought about it, like I didn't want to choose a player. Well, I was gonna say, and I didn't want to choose a player like I just meant like an example that we didn't really expect much from, and it's just crap anyway. Like, did you really expect a hell of a lot from Bobby Dahlbeck? Probably
I
not.
did.
Like maybe.
I did.
Well,
I
I'm
did.
sorry to disappoint you, but anyway, uh, I kind of wanted to talk about Anthony Rendon. Anthony Rendon is getting paid $35 million in his 7-year contract, and he has barely played. And when he has played, I mean, he's been good at like some games here and there. But when you're talking about like a top contract in baseball, one that we kind of almost forget about at times, like he's been pretty much a bust for them in every single aspect of the cat. We talked about Albert Pujols being like kind of like a guy that fell off the table. That's a guy that fell off the
Uh,
table. Anthony Rendon. And kind of Saxby, I give you guys credit because maybe he was like a hometown favorite at the time. Maybe some of you guys were upset when you got rid of him. I don't know if you personally were, but it's kind of crazy, like the bullet you guys. That was going to be the same.
Opinion on the Anthony Rendon thing was like, yeah, he was a hell of a player. But I didn't really like. I knew he was gonna leave. He wasn't. He didn't really fit in. He was. I mean, watching him every day, he just never really fit into Washington and the dancing and the fucking eccentricness and everything. He made several weird comments about the fans in DC, which it's understandable. But why are you constantly like? It's not just one occasion where you're just like, where's the fans at? You're like 4, 5, 6 different occasions where he's like, kind of just shitting on the fan base. When realistically, it's not even the fan base's fault. It's the fact that it's Washington D.C. and the bus lines and everything. It's a mess. It's actually a gigantic disaster. Um, but when it comes to Anthony Rendon, I mean, it was either Rendon or Strasburg, and even now, I mean, I go back and I still give it to Strasburg. I mean, he had gotten us that MVP. And at the time, I wanted Strasburg instead of Rendon. So, um, that's overall how I felt about that. So unfortunately, we had to cut this video due to technical difficulties. If you like this video, please like, follow, subscribe. We got a lot more good content on the way, from MLB to NBA and the NFL. Yes, football is coming, so please stay tuned for that. On top of that, we're going to have a whole bunch of amazing guests, but please like, please subscribe. We appreciate you. Sell your soul to us. But thanks for watching the Built Different podcast.